Hello and welcome to eNews. I'm Shahan Ramkisoon. It's great to have you with us. Our top stories tonight. President Cyril Ramaphosa says the economy will bounce back from the recession with black people in leading positions. Tens of thousands of maidens take part in the annual Reed Dance. We start with this. ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa is campaigning in Durban. As part of the ANC's Tumamina campaign, Ramaphosa walked with KwaMashu residents today. He also made his way to Umlazi before addressing community members at the Chatsworth Youth Centre. He's encouraging South Africans to stop being overly critical and look at the glass as half full. Ramaphosa says government's working hard to rescue the ailing economy.
Right now, we've got a technical recession with our growth having dipped, with the hope that we are going to revamp our agricultural sector so that it performs better in the next quarter and give us the necessary boost that our economy needs. But in the process of all this, we also have to restructure our economy. We also have to restructure it and bring in black people into the economy as owners, as managers, as controllers of our economy. Because when we do that, that is when we create a bigger economy, an economy that is inclusive and supports everyone in terms of growth.
The Zulu Royal House believes the annual Reed Dance is more important than ever because it's a way of preventing the spread of HIV. Tens of thousands of maidens have been taking part in the celebration. They gathered in Nongoma to present their reeds to King Goodwill's Zwelithini. The event promotes respect for young women and preserves the custom of encouraging girls to stay virgins until marriage.
Deep in the heart of Zululand, thousands of maidens made their way to the royal Enyokeni Palace in Nongoma. Each proudly carried the symbol of their purity, a reed taken from the riverbed. It connects them to ancestors long gone who took pride in the same rituals. Their pledge is to remain virgins until they enter into marriage. The Royal House believes this annual celebration has become increasingly important.
This is a way of, by the king, to make these maidens stay pure, free from early pregnancy, free from diseases. This has become a weapon by which HIV/AIDS can be prevented.
Led by one of King Goodwill's Zwelithini's daughters, the maidens are proud to hand over their reeds to their leader.
It means that I am proud to be a virgin, and this thing is very nice to us as we are girls. We have to be proud of ourselves and we have to carry on, take care of ourselves and not just give boys what we have.
Legend has it, if you aren't a virgin, your reed will break. By the looks of it, many here will be heading home with their heads held up high.
Now, winter isn't letting up just yet. Temperatures have plummeted across the country. Parts of the Eastern Cape, Western Cape and Northern Cape are covered in snow. Thunderstorms are expected over the interior, including the Highveld. KwaZulu-Natal can also experience snowfall. Frosty conditions are expected to start subsiding tomorrow.
Gravel road to Cathcart.
This year marks the 25th anniversary of the death of American anti-apartheid activist Amy Beale. She was killed by a mob in Gugulethu on the 25th of August in 1993. The movie about the circumstances around her death is now in the making. Beale's mother says she hopes it will portray a story of forgiveness. Tanya Neft reports.
It's a story that made headlines in South Africa and the world over back in 1993. Amy Beale's life taken in the most brutal way by an angry mob in a Cape Town township. The irony of her death is that Beale was an activist lobbying for the very people who took her life. Her tragic yet inspirational story is now in the process of being translated onto the big screen.
Kazan, let's come to you. You've been chosen to bring Amy Beale's story to life. You're the director and, of course, no stranger to directing lots of feature films and short films. What is it about Amy that you are excited to work on?
The way I survived Saddam war 2 times, 2 wars with Saddam, me and my family and my people. So I know how it feels to be hated and oppressed, and it's so important that the stories get a chance to be told right now, but also the boys' story. That is really important to me and to Linda and everybody in the team. That is, we tell the story from both sides.
I'm listening to you and I'm just in complete awe. How did you manage to turn that pain into forgiveness?
Well, it's about finding out the truth, what happened. But we didn't dwell on the actual event. That day happened, but it's not the end. I think Amy would have been extremely disappointed in us had we laid in bed taking some Valium, like I've seen so many people do. I said, we want to understand why she loved this country as much as she did.
What is it that you want people to take away from this story?
Maybe just through the storytelling, there will be some lessons coming out of that. Hopefully, this is the outcome, that this story opens up minds and hearts to other possibilities than hate.
Pre-production of the Year of the Great Storm starts in January and is set to depict a vivid memory of a country teetering on civil war. The filmmakers say they're looking forward to filming at the original locations in Cape Town. Tanya Neft, Cape Town.
Coming up after the break, post Robert Mugabe, authorities say Zimbabwe tourism is booming. Welcome back. Residents of an old age home in Kokstad, KwaZulu-Natal have suffered neglect and starvation. They want harsher action taken against former board members of the non-profit organization accused of running the center to the ground. The home is plagued by a leadership crisis and the mismanagement of funds. Sipamandla Goge has more.
It's meant to be a place of comfort and joy, but not for this vulnerable group of society. Mismanagement of funds and bad leadership is believed to have crippled the once well-run eLonwabeni old age home. The elderly look disheveled. Music keeps them going. Others try to forget their worries by playing board games. It's alleged some former board members of the center used the elderly citizens' money on shopping sprees.
Some of the monies of these gogos that stay here were withdrawn in Johannesburg, some in Durban, some in Wild Coast, but then those gogos had never been into those places.
The home's residents want the culprits to pay. The crisis prompted speculation that the center will be shut and residents relocated.
Ingxaki thina esiyesacaba ke ngosifuna ungenelela kuyinto ba kuzawuthathwa abantu bethu bahanjwe basiwe enkandla singaxelelwanga endaweni yoba kususwe aba bantu badle imali zabo.
More than 40 workers have not been paid for months, and the center is on autopilot.
Akukho body, akukho management, akukho registered nurse, asinayo registered nurse okhona, asina administration clerk, umuntu esincedwa uyena social worker, eziswe uyena social development.
The preliminary forensic investigation has unearthed a web of fraud and corruption.
The task team that has been assigned is to look at the extent of the matter. They have to also consider stopping any payment to the NPO that failed the elderly people. But they must then go into some forensic investigation to discover the truth. That's how charges are then going to be proffered.
But the provincial authorities have opted not to shut the center down.
After discussing, very in-depth discussion, it was felt that one thing we cannot do, because the facility here is intact. Therefore, there is nothing wrong with the facility. The cabinet ruled that we should not remove the older persons.
The provincial government will appoint an administrator to run the affairs of the facility. Siphamandla Koke, Kokstad, KwaZulu-Natal.
In neighboring Zimbabwe, there's a boom in tourism following the departure of Robert Mugabe. Trade is bustling at a World Tourism Expo with more than 600 exhibitors and buyers attending the event. It's one of Africa's prime travel and tourism showcases.
Robert Mugabe's fall had been a blessing to Zimbabwe, with more tourists now visiting. Zimbabwe Tourism Authority CEO Karikoga Kaseke revealed the tourism boom at the Sanganai World Tourism Expo in Bulawayo.
Comrade Mnangagwa has changed the policies drastically, and this is real change that has been talking about. And let me tell you the truth, tourist arrivals comparing first half of 2017 and first half of 2018, 45% increase.
Vice President Constantino Chiwenga says the Tourism Expo is giving his government a platform to re-engage with the world after decades of isolation.
It is also my fervent wish that the Expo will facilitate the much-needed interactive networking sessions for local tourism operators, hotels and lodges, thereby instilling confidence in Zimbabwe as a tourism destination of choice.
More than 600 exhibitors and buyers are taking part at the Sanganai World Tourism Expo, which has become one of Africa's prime travel and tourism showcases.
We as the tourism board are obviously here to promote South Africa, so we're hoping that the delegation that we have brought will be able to do business and convince the Zimbabwean trade that they need to actually send tourists to South Africa so that we can actually meet our 5-in-5 strategy and meet the targets that we have as South Africa.
Participants at the expo visited the Victoria Falls and the Hwange National Park. This year's edition of the Travel and Tourism Expo began with the commemoration of Zimbabwe's nationalist Joshua Nkomo. Pindaiduwe, Bulawayo, Zimbabwe.
That's all the sport we have for you this evening. After the break, your weather and then. President Cyril Ramaphosa braves the rain to work out with KwaMashu residents.
Welcome to the Weather Centre, where a wintry system brought in lots of rainfall and snowfall over the last couple of days. Although we're expecting a clearing trend on Sunday, a bit of cloud and rain still remains in the forecast over the far eastern parts through to Sunday morning. It'll be a cold night across South Africa's interior, with cooling reaching the eastern parts on Sunday. We're still expecting a bit of cloud and rain along parts of the Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal coastline during the course of the day, but with fine and dry weather in the west. In fact, you'll see a mostly sunny Sunday for the Northern Cape, but with a cold start to the day. 2 and 19 for Uppington, -5 and 13 degrees for Sutherland, with a bit of high cloud in the west. We're forecasting a dry and cool day throughout the Western Cape, 19 for Cape Town and Worcester, partly cloudy and cold for George at 15, with another bitterly cold day throughout the Eastern Cape, partly cloudy and dry here, other than some rain along parts of the coastline. We're expecting a high of around 20 along the KZN coast, with a chance of rain during the course of the day, with the possibility of some morning snowfall, and that's mainly for the high-lying regions in the vicinity of Lesotho. It'll be a cold start to the day for the Mpumalanga Highveld, with a sunny afternoon and a cold Forecast at 16 for Enyokeni and Ermelo. Skukuza and Phalaborwa can expect morning thundershowers, but with things starting to clear out in the afternoon. Sunny and dry for Polokwane at 20 degrees. Fine but cool as we head towards northwest with the freezing start of the day for Klerksdorp and a high of 18. -2 overnight for Bloemfontein and Bethlehem, both warming up into the mid-teens with a sunny afternoon. Sastron only making it to 10 degrees. Cooling reaches Gauteng on Sunday, 18 for Johannesburg, with Vereeniging and Soweto topping 17 degrees. On Monday, we're forecasting dry weather across the country, with temperatures slowly recovering after the weekend, and things continue to warm as we head into Tuesday, with rain on Tuesday night for Cape Town. That's all from the Weather Centre for now. Have a great weekend.
And finally, bad weather in Durban didn't prevent President Cyril Ramaphosa from exercising. He was joined by KwaMashu residents for a walk in the pouring rain this morning. Ramaphosa has encouraged a healthy lifestyle with his Tummy Must Fall campaign, walking with different communities across the country. He also did a few squats and push-ups with a trainer.
My president! My president! Kaba must fall. It's slow. It's slow, but it's on its way to fall. So it is going to happen without any doubt. And the important thing is to have the determination to make Mkaba to fall. So it is going to happen. You watch this space.
Mkaba must fall. Well, if the president can get up early in the bad weather to train, I guess there really are no excuses for all of us. Here's a reminder of our top stories before we go. President Cyril Ramaphosa says the economy will bounce back from the recession with black people in leading positions. Tens of thousands of maidens take part in the annual Reed Dance. From me, Shahan Ramkisoon, and the rest of the team, take care and goodbye.